What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Road to Infinity War here at The Real Talk, where every week we're going to be reviewing an MCU film leading up to Avengers Infinity War on May 4th. So we've already made our, 3 stops within this whole, road trip within the MCU, and that was for Iron Man, The Incredible Hulk, and Iron Man 2. So if you guys want to check those out, links to those are going to be in the description down below and at the end of this video. So today we're going to be making our 4th stop, and that is for 2011's Thor. So this film was directed by Kenneth Branagh and obviously stars Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, Anthony Hopkins, Kat Dennings, Tom Hiddleston, Idris Elba. Such a stellar cast for this film, guys. And obviously with all my reviews, I have a special guest, or should I say a pair of special guests. And I'm so excited that these guys said, yes, we'll come on here, review this film with you, and be a part of this whole Road to Infinity War. So without further ado, gentlemen, kick it off.
G'day guys, I'm Corey.
No, I'm Steve.
And we're Rewind Replay. But we're not on Rewind Replay, are we, Steve?
Not today, no.
No, we're on Real Talk. Thanks to John for having us. So what he wants us to do is a thoughts and review video on Thor and our thoughts on Avengers Infinity War. If you haven't subscribed to Real Talk, do that right now. What are you doing?
Smash the subscribe button.
Yeah, help him out. And then head over to our channel and help us out. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Follow us on Rewind Replay AU. So, let's get into Thor.
Indeed. So, this was Chris Hemsworth's first appearance as part of the MCU, and we got an Aussie in the MCU. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
He is Australian.
So are we.
Thor's Australian. Makes it so much cool.
Donning the red cape.
Indeed.
And the helmet that they took off. I would say that's one thing I had a problem with the movie, is that they didn't give him a helmet.
Would have loved it. The old helmet.
Yeah. So the movie was one of the first real build-ups to the Avengers 2012 film, and I thought they played it off really well. Of that, I got a lot of cool hints in here, even a cameo.
Yeah, and got first appearance of Hawkeye, which was awesome.
Yeah, that scene was amazing too.
Yeah, I reckon that's the strongest scene in the whole film, to be honest. I thought there was so much character building, it was just cool action. Thor without his powers, which was a cool dynamic.
But in saying that, if that was the coolest scene in the movie, does that mean the rest of the movie's kind of low?
Well, the opening's really cool. There's some cool stuff in that first act, of like them fighting the frost giants. That was pretty sweet.
That was pretty epic.
Straight through the face.
And then I feel like then the shield complex scene. And the movie kind of just fell flat, didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, they sort of used... And another thing that is strong within the film was the fact that they were able to capitalise on a fish out of water scenario. Thor is very funny when he's on Earth, adjusting to our human ways.
Yeah, I love when he goes into the pet store, asks for a horse.
I need a horse!
And then he asks for a cat or dog big enough to ride. I thought that was classic. And Chris Hemsworth pulls it off so well. He has a good sense of humour about it.
He does, yeah. He's perfect for the character, for sure. What do you think of the human cast in this film, like Natalie Portman and such?
I felt like they worked well in the first film. Really bad in the second, and I'm glad they got rid of him
in the third.
Yeah. But I love how Chris Hemsworth has really owned the role of Thor, and going from Thor to Avengers worked really well, and then didn't work so well with the Dark World, but he finally found his feet with Ragnarok. But I've always enjoyed the character, especially from this first movie.
Definitely, and we can't talk about this movie without talking about probably the strongest part of the entire thing, and that's Loki.
Yeah.
We got easily one of the coolest villains, not only in the MCU, but maybe even cinema. He's likable, he's cheeky, he's smart.
Yeah.
You just can't help but you want him to do more when he's on screen.
Well, obviously the people do, because he's been in almost every other MCU movie.
Surprised he's not in everyone else's.
So what were your first original thoughts when you first saw this movie?
I actually saw it in 3D. I wasn't overly impressed by the 3D, I remember that much. It was an awkward era for 3D, I think. Every film was just getting tacked on. But I originally came out and I probably thought a lot more of it then than I did now. Looking back, I'm like, it wasn't spectacular, but it's still a really fun film.
This was actually the first MCU movie I saw in theaters. I unfortunately missed out on the Iron Mans and Hulk. I saw 2003 Hulk, which was terrible.
Go you.
Yeah. But Thor, I was so intrigued by, and it was mostly the post they got me.
Yeah.
The red God of Thunder one. I thought that was a cool poster.
That was pretty sweet.
And I actually really enjoyed the movie, and I still do. I think it's actually a fun movie. I think all of Phase 1 is pretty awesome in a whole.
Very, very good popcorn flicks at the very least.
And it was a build-up to Avengers. As I said before, we got a lot of hints, especially the after-credit scene with the Tesseract. That was pretty cool.
Which you were there for.
Yeah. I was an amateur and walked out of the cinema.
What a noob.
Yeah. And then the cameo for Hawkeye, which was so cool.
That was it. That was really, really cool.
When he reaches for the bow. But, yeah, it is part of the MCU, and leading up to the MCU, it's Avengers Infinity War. So, what are your thoughts on Infinity War?
It does look very appealing. Like, there's so much build up to this. This is going to be the ultimate hype train movie for sure. Fans are going to lose their minds over this. In saying that, I do feel there's an awful lot riding on it. They've got to try and get a lot of characters on film, give them a decent amount of screen time, capitalise on some good action, as well as give Thanos a lot of character growth. They do have 2 films to pull it off in, so as a couple they might be able to do it, but Avengers also still has to stand on its own, I feel.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, but cautious.
I'm just excited. My mind is being blown of that. It's finally coming together since Iron Man. 10 years. 10 years we've been waiting.
It's a fair feat.
Yeah. Avengers versus Thanos. They're going to get their asses kicked, or they're going to kick his ass. Either way, it's going to be epic and cool. I'm excited.
You're not even going to survive for the film.
No, I'm just... I'm actually going to go in there, then the Marvel logo is going to come up and my head will explode.
Yeah. Well, it's fine.
Keep it to yourself.
But at the end of the day, what would you score Thor?
In our normal rating system, I'd probably give it in between a silver and a gold.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
But we don't have our board, so I'm giving it a worthy.
Yes, worthy indeed.
Yes. That's our review and thoughts on Thor and Avengers Infinity War. Once again, special thanks to John from Real Talk for having us here.
Top bloke.
Don't forget to subscribe to Real Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to us. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Rewind Replay AU. Thank you guys so much, and thank you, John.
Yes. Until next time, I'm Steve.
I'm Corey. Catches.
Alright, thank you guys so much for that fantastic review of Thor. And again, thank you guys so much that you guys agreed to come on my channel and be part of this whole Road to Infinity War. It really means a lot. And I was excited to have you guys on because I'm a fan of your channel. And to everybody watching, please go check them out. They have some amazing content. And they recently kind of, had they revamped their channel and stuff like that. So check it out. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty sweet. And support those guys. So let's get on with my review of Thor. So my experience with the film, obviously, it came out in 2011, so I was in high school, and it was one of those films that, I got all my friends with, and we went to go see it. And to be honest, I had a blast with the film, and it was so exciting to get 2 MCU films and this kind of little teaser for next week. And obviously, if you guys know the MCU, you guys know that we got Thor and Captain America in the same year. So it was kind of exciting to have Thor, and oh my god, we're going to have Captain America, and then oh my god, next year is going to be the Avengers. So there was a lot of hype, behind these 2 movies, especially with Thor. And I winded up, I saw the film, and to be honest, I really, really, really enjoyed this. But with that being said, I do have some negatives. And first off, I want to start off with the Earth stuff, especially a lot of things with Kat Dennings. When I first saw this movie, I didn't mind her character, and she had some comedic moments. But now, I don't know, she kind of bothered me and annoyed me. And Natalie Portman, I like her. She's given us some great performances, Black Swan, V for Vendetta. But in this one, I don't know, she's not as bad. But I don't know. I feel like obviously the Earth stuff was needed for the story and the character arc for Thor, but I don't know, it could have been done better. But I do like Stellan Skarsgård and his character, Eric Selvin, I think, or Selvin, not sure, but I do like his stuff. Obviously, he's included later on in the MCU films. But yeah, some of the Earth stuff just didn't land with me. One other thing I want to mention is the CGI. There was a specific scene early on in the movie where they're in the whole area with the frost giants and stuff like that, and they're having the battle, but man, some of the CGI in that scene, it's it didn't age well, not as much as, like Iron Man CGI. Even in the Incredible Hulk, it wasn't that bad. There was some things like, eek, but in this one, there was that scene, and then kind of a little bit later on, it was kind of, okay, this is kind of bad CGI, but for the most part, it was it was serviceable, but again, it didn't age well. And I think that was all my negatives. So we can start with my positives, guys. And to be honest, I want to start off with the whole Asgard stuff. I know the movie starts off, with Earth people and Natalie Portman, and just jumps to Thor and Asgard and stuff like that. But from when they start in Asgard and they give you the whole backstory to like when he goes back to Earth, I love this film. It was a great story of this, kind of kid that eventually is going to become a king, obviously, and he's not ready. He thinks he is, but he's arrogant. He's kind of full of himself. He thinks he could do it all. He thinks he knows everything. And obviously he doesn't. And it's such a great story. And this is why I didn't expect to like this film when I first heard Thor. I don't really know this guy. But I went into this film and they were able to make you connect with this character, to kind of relate to him in some way, shape, or form. And this whole arc that he has, and especially everything going on in Asgard. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but hey, let's talk about it. So yeah, it's just his story. The whole arc he has in this movie is fantastic. How he needs to go to Earth and his powers are stripped away and he can't lift a hammer and stuff. It's just so well done. And Kenneth Branagh, again, he's a director. This is another positive of the film. He was able to kind of deliver in that aspect of the film, the whole Asgard stuff, because that can easily be boring to some people, and he made it really interesting and entertaining. And like I said, some of the Earth stuff didn't land with me, but later on during the film, like I said, it's carried by Chris Hemsworth, and we can talk about him. He was great in this role, and obviously he's kind of developed into his own Thor within with Thor Ragnarok. Obviously, the Avengers of Ultron. As he progressed with the character in the films, he's kind of come into his own Thor, and it's kind of a different character now if you realize it. But you can kind of see his whole arc, if you will, with this movie, Avengers, Age of Ultron, Dark World, and yeah. But also Loki, I want to mention. This is going too freaking far. All right, so like I was saying, I want to jump off to Loki. Loki has such a great character arc as well, and you can see kind of the beginnings of this great villain that we're gonna have later. Because in this film, he does some villainous things, but he's not like, and I guess he was responsible for the whole overall arc of it, of everything that's going on behind the scenes. But I don't know, just that scene. I was watching the film again, and just like that, I don't know why I was invested in this whole scene when Loki goes to the weapons vault and he grabs that thing and then Odin says, no, like drop it or don't do it. And that whole scene, obviously, when he's telling him, so like, I'm just like another one of your relics in this thing, and like he's just so like, you can tell. And that's the thing, going like knowing where Loki goes within the rest of the universe. It now I don't know, I've always known this, like this movie came before everything else, but for some reason this time watching the film, it just hit me a lot more and said, you know what, I understand Loki in the way he is, how he's always betraying his brother, how he wants his own kingdom, why he wanted to go to Earth and do that stuff. It's understandable. His whole life, he was like, I don't know, I don't want to make this review about Loki, but his character, and Tom Hiddleston just does a great job portraying him. And Loki has to be a huge positive to the film. And we'll talk about more of his relationship and Thor's relationship. Well, I should say their relationship in Thor's Dark World when we get to that review. But yeah, Loki's a huge positive. So moving on with the score and the cinematography, I always said that they go hand in hand and they kind of enhance the film when they're done really well. And they kind of could build a world for you as well. You can hear this piece of music and just be instantly transported to Asgard, and that's something that the score really did for me. Like as soon as I heard it, I was okay, Asgard. And some of the shots in this is really well done as well, kind of giving you an input to that world. And they do some really interesting stuff with cinematography here, and kind of again capturing the world of Asgard. And also I can talk about the sets. There's a lot of practical sets used in this. Obviously there's CGI when they can't. But there's a lot of practical stuff, and I really, like I said, like Star Wars, the original trilogy does that a lot, and I really, really appreciate that. It makes the world feel like a real world. So I thought those three things were really well done. Alright guys, so there you have it, my review of Thor. Hopefully I didn't get into it too much, because Rewind, Replay, they did such a fantastic job as well. So I would give Thor, I think I would give it an 8 out of 10. I really loved this movie. I really dug Thor's character stuff. I would give it a 7.5, but just this viewing kind of solidified it to be an 8, a solid 8 for me, because of just his character arc of kind of having this arrogant prick or whatever, thinks he knows it all, to becoming a worthy king. And he kind of declines it at the end and say, no, you know what, I still have a lot to learn, you know, and this was a great lesson learned, so, you know, I'm not there yet, you know. And obviously he has a great arc within the other movies as well. So yeah, as always, thank you so much again to the guys over at Rewind Replay. Thank you for the review, and go check them out, guys. Again, their links to their social media and their channel is going to be in the description down below. And next week, guys, we're going to be making another stop, and that is for Captain America: The First Avenger. So stay tuned for that next week. And if you guys want to follow me outside of YouTube, you guys can on Twitter and Instagram at The Real Talk, Talk with 2Ks. You guys can also find me on Stardust, just at The Real Talk. And as always, I'll see you at the movies. Later.